Hello and welcome to a Talmud Israeli production. Today we'll review the highlights of this week's course of Daf Yomi study, Masechet Bava Kamma, pages 17 through 23. 17. Amar Mar Gadol Limud Torah Shehalimud Mevi Lidei Maaseh. Great is the study of Torah, for the study of Torah leads to the performance of action, of mitzvot. As Rashi explains, Amar Maaseh Adif, that we're basically discussing what's more important, learning or doing mitzvot. And the argument here is being made that Maaseh Adif, action is more important, that learning is important because it leads to something else, that leads to the action which is of far more critical significance. Now, the truth of the matter is, this subject is discussed in the Talmud on several occasions. What's greater, Maaseh or Talmud or Limud? And different answers are offered, but almost all the answers lead in the same direction, that there's a preference for studying, that the culture of the Jewish people prioritizes studying, but in fact, the Ribono Shel Olam, God has commanded us in the mitzvot. So why is limud good? Because it brings us to mitzvot. 18. Boy Rav. Rav asked the following question. Chatzi nezik tzrorot. The category of payment of half damages for pebbles, for rocks that shoot forth from under the foot of an animal. Miguf meshalim melia meshalim. Is that paid from the goof, the body of the animal that's doing the damaging, or from the aliyah, meaning the upper hand, whatever however much we need to get to half the damages? The argument can go either way. We could suggest from the body of the damaging animal, we must take the payment money because we never find that half damages is paid from the aliyah, from the upper hand. Or maybe we shall say, no, from the higher amount it's paid, because we never find that damages which happen in the ordinary course are paid from the body of the animal. 19. Ketzin Meshalemet Mashenenet. Where do we find that restitution for damage is paid on the basis of what was enjoyed by the animal? Achla mitoch harachava, if the animal ate in the street, then you'll pay based upon what it benefited. Mitzir harachava, from the sides of the road, you'll pay that which the damage was worth. From the entrance of the store, the payment will be what the animal benefited. But from inside the store, the payment will be what the damage the animal actually caused. So depending upon the physical location of where this act of consumption occurred, whether it's in the street, on the side of the road, at the entrance to the store, or in the store, we'll have either mashenanit, what was benefited, or mashahizika, that which was damaged. Chaf. Zenene v'zelo chaser. Haturo chayav. It's a classic Talmudic question. What happens if one side benefits and the other side does not sustain a loss? It's a sort of a no harm, no foul situation where one side gains illegitimately. They weren't supposed to, it was without permission, they gain, and the other side is not the worse for wear on account of it. Shall there be obligatory payment of restitution in this kind of a case? And the answer is major machloket, major disagreement among the Amoraim. One side says yes, chayav. One says patur, exempt. Okay. 21. Hakelev, the dog, vagedi, the goat, shekafzu mirosh agag. They jump from the roof. Vishavu kelim, and they crash land and they land on utensils and break the utensils. Mishalim nezek, damages must be paid. They shehen muadin, because these animals are forewarned to cause trouble. It's a toda, it's a subcategory of regel, the primary damaging category of regel. Hakelev shnatal charav halach v'gadish. What happens if a dog took a fiery, a burning biscuit and went over to a pile of grain? Achal charara, he ate the biscuit, but the coals lit the grain stack on fire. Hidlik hagadish. For the biscuit, you pay the full amount. But as for the stack of grain that burned down, there's only a half payment. 22. The Gemara here offers a dispute about the underlying reason for paying damages in the case of one's fire. You lit a fire, it spreads, it causes somebody trouble, it causes damage. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Isha Mishum Chetzio. The restitution that is made after you cause a fire that leads to damaging of other property is because of chetzio, your force. Your physical force pushed it in a certain direction that caused damage, like an arrow. Resh Lakish says, however, Isha Mishum Mamono. You have to pay restitution in the case of your fire causing damages because your fire is like your money, like your property, your personal property. So one says your physical force, one says your property. Rabbi Yochanan said what he said because mamones be mamasha, property has substance to it, whereas fire leis be mamasha, there's no substance to fire, it's ephemeral. Reish Lakish says, Chetzio mikoach ka'azil, your physical force, okay, comes from that which you pushed. You gave energy to it, and it went. But high lav mikocha ka'azil. But this fire, you didn't give any energy to it at all. It's naturally occurring phenomenon, physics. So therefore, it's more like your property. 23. Ezehu tam ve'ezehu muad. How do we know what's a forewarned animal and what is not a forewarned animal? The tam is not forewarned, the muad is forewarned. Well, muad kol shidu bo shlosh yamim, tam shachsu bo shlosh yamim di Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says we consider an animal to be muad if 3 days, on 3 different days, there was testimony about it that it's causing trouble, it's acting up. And it becomes a tam again when 3 days go by and it's behaved itself reasonably so. Rabbi Meir says no. The muad is when, on 3 separate occasions, there was testimony about it that this animal acted inappropriately, was aggressive, and tam it becomes a tam when children can play with this animal without fear of being gored. That if the kids are playing with it as though it were a benign and friendly animal, without any regard for the possibility that it's going to gore, because it doesn't seem to gore anymore, then you know what? It's no longer a muad. It's back to being a tam. Everyone have a great week.